I work on a cruise ship, and probably the top perk of this job is getting to save a lot of the money that you make. We have very limited expenses when we're here on board, so if you wanted to spend $0, you could. I don't do that though, so in this video, we're gonna see how much I spend on average in a week. It is so windy out here. But first, we need to talk about what I do and don't pay for here on board. So the first thing that I don't pay for on board is my cabin. And no, it does not get taken out of my paycheck. Along with our cabin, we don't pay for things like water or electricity, so we basically have no bills while we're on board. Really, the only bills that you might have are the ones that you have back home. Another free thing that we have here on board is laundry. The laundry is free to use besides having to provide your own detergent. I got this giant pack of detergent from Costco before we got here. It was like $30. There's 104 pods in here, so 104 divided by like 30 is something, and then times, we probably use like 2 to 3 pods per load, like once a week. That's like, actually I have no idea, maybe like 50-ish cents a pod? I don't know. But to be honest, half of the machines are broken, so the laundry room is covered in water. One of the machines is missing.
It's actively overflowing, yeah.
Okay, this is ship life. My biggest spending category, I think, is probably going to be food. It's most definitely going to be food. Yes, the food on the ship is free in the crew mess, and I do eat there most meals, but the rotation does get a little bit boring. So about once a week, Robert and I will go to the specialty restaurants here on board. We have a few options, from Italian at Giovanni's, steak at Chops, and sushi at Izumi, which are all a little bit pricier, but then we have Playmaker, Sports Bar, and Johnny Rockets, which are a little bit cheaper. So we thankfully do get a 20% discount, and sometimes even more if they're running a special, which I feel like they do pretty frequently. I'd say I tend to spend about $50 a week at the specialty restaurants, give or take. That's an average. When it comes to like snacks and drinks on board, we do have a crew bar and a slot chest. You can get soda, alcohol, coffee, smoothies, snacks, and toiletries. All of the things that you might need to hold you over until you can get to like a bigger grocery store if needed. I'm honestly not like a big snacker, so I'm never really coming to the slop chest, but I will occasionally come and get like a Red Bull or a Coke. And I always buy water at the water sale once a week for $3. And today I'm having a Red Bull because we have a show. The tropical version is the best. Oh, and really quick, an expense that I do save a lot of money on is alcohol. I will not be drinking this before the show tonight. I usually just get a bottle of rum from Crew Bar for about $10 and maybe a Coke, and I'll have a drink every once in a while. If you do the math, a drink, if I make the drink myself, it comes out to like $1.50. But the drinks in Crew Bar are very cheap. You can get like a margarita for $4, where on land it would be at least $10 depending where you are. We also have a lot of crew parties here on board where HR will provide free drinks and food. Not always, but oftentimes they'll at least have beer and soda. These parties usually have a really fun theme. It just makes for a great night out when you don't have to Uber, pay a cover fee, buy overpriced drinks, and then find a way home. It's all in one place and for cheap. One big expense I save on while on board is a gym membership. As a cast member, we are actually required to do 5 gym hours per week to keep up our stamina and physique for the shows. When I'm back home, I'll usually spend anywhere between $10 and $50 a month for a gym membership, so it is really nice to have such a beautiful gym to use for free. Okay, let's talk about what I'm pretty sure is most crew members' biggest expense on board. Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi on the ship costs $3.99 per hour. You can also purchase bigger packages, and the more minutes that you buy, the less it becomes. The crew also does get 2 free hours per week, but for many people that's just not enough, and so it can really add up. Except for Robert. Somehow he only uses those 2 free hours a week. I don't know how he does it, but he does. For me though, I use much more, but I actually don't pay for it. I have a side job at the Wi-Fi desk. So for 1 hour, I will get 300 free minutes of Wi-Fi. So I'll usually help with Wi-Fi 1 to 2 hours per week and get between 300 and 600 minutes of free internet. So I am very thankful for my job at the Wi-Fi desk. Now let's talk about what I spend off of the ship. I am a little bit nervous. So we are currently on 2 different 7-day itineraries in the Caribbean that alternate each week. We visit places like St. Thomas, San Juan, the Bahamas, Jamaica, and Grand Cayman. Most days of the week are spent grabbing lunch off of the ship or visiting like a nearby beach, which you wouldn't think would cost a lot, but the Caribbean isn't as inexpensive as one might think. Day 1 of this itinerary is always our turnaround day in Fort Lauderdale, and it's basically an errand day for us. We usually take the $4 cruise shuttle to Publix to get things like almond milk for our coffees and just whatever else we might need that week. We'll also usually go to a coffee shop and get some food and Wi-Fi to do things that the ship Wi-Fi might not be strong enough for, and especially to download things for the upcoming week like new music, podcasts, and Netflix. Day 2, we are always in Coco Cay, which is free for the crew. You don't have to pay for any transportation on the island, food, or a beach chair. There are some additional things that you can do, like there's the water park, snorkeling gear, and jet skis, but we never really do that, so we actually never spend any money here. There have been many days on this contract where we also just don't get off the ship at all and just have a day on board, but occasionally there's also an activity that we really want to do somewhere that's gonna cost a little bit more. So we'll get a bunch of the cast together to like save on taxis and just have a fun day out. For example, there was a water park in Nassau that we really wanted to go to that was a little bit pricier, but every once in a while it's worth it to spend a little bit more to have a fun day out with the cast.
How do we think he's gonna do, guys?
I think he might fall the first time.
20 seconds. Oh. All right, good guess, good guess.
I am confident. I am going to do amazing at it.
Okay.
I'm actually really scared now.
All right, what's your thoughts on Kyle?
Oh, not even 2 seconds. Really good at that. I knew I was confident.
I went through some bank statements and my onboard statement to see kind of the average of what I spend in a week, because it really is so different depending on the week. It's never the same. This week I have spent $5 so far and we're on day 6 of the cruise. So that's why I wanted to do an average and not just like one simple week in my life, because this week would have been very boring. We were in Europe last year and I actually did a video on what I spent in a week last year, and I'm not gonna lie, the total between now and then, I really thought it was going to be different. For some reason, I thought that I would be spending way more in Europe than I was in the Caribbean, because I got off every single day in Europe. I was eating, I was having a good time, I was going to all of these amazing historical places, doing tours, everything. So I thought that I would be spending a lot more there, and then after thinking about it, when you're in Europe, a lot of the things are really close to the port, so you don't have to pay for a taxi to get a lot of places. And if you do, there is public transportation that is very inexpensive. And then when you get somewhere, it's relatively inexpensive. I could get an Aperol Spritz for like $3 in Italy. If I tried to get an Aperol Spritz here in the Caribbean somewhere, it would be $15, at least in most places, not everywhere. A lot of the places that we're going to in the Caribbean here are very touristy, and so they are just more expensive, and so I really did not expect that. But I think I said this in the last video that I made, not having any expenses really back home and getting to save on like rent and housing and a lot of other things, I always am willing to spend a little bit more on experiences. Anyway, I did want to say that in my last video that I did last year, my average while we were in Europe was $224 a week. And I really thought it was going to be different here. On this itinerary, including onboard and off, my average has been about $200. Really not that different from Europe when I feel like I was doing way more stuff. It's so interesting to see that. But again, it is just an average. It is definitely less than what we would spend if we were on land. I don't know, for some reason it's making me feel bad. I'm like, oh, is $200 too much? I don't know. Don't tell me. Don't tell me in the comments. Don't make me feel bad about it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this little glimpse into what I spend in a week. It's such an interesting lifestyle to not have a lot of regular expenses that many people do who don't work on cruise ships, and every once in a while I get a little nervous for the day that I'm gonna have to start paying rent again and live in a house and deal with all of those adulty things that I haven't really had to pay for and deal with in a lot of my 20s. It's such a weird concept. I don't know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't yet, and let me know what other videos you'd like to see on my channel. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel.